Yeah, and I wrote many letters, and I asked them why. We were in 4 years ago. We had this set up. We had banners, and they came after Christine Tell walked by and Mayor Michael Fougere. They came and started taking our stuff down. I said, "What? Thanks so much.
We support you. Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you.
Yes.
Like, give me a hug. Thanks so much.
Yeah, we support you, and I'll be getting
You're
your
great
book.
people. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Call me in about a month.
We fought the battle and lost, but we still fought it.
Well,
And he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
you know, it's not about.
I feel the same way. At least I put it out in the ether. I wrote letters that were published in the Leader Post.
Yeah.
Named them. You know what I mean? I wrote 2 that were published.
Wonderful. Yeah.
But it didn't help.
Well, the Leader Post won't even publish our articles.
No. Well,
So that's why we created our own media with the Compass magazine.
Yeah.
I spent
that
over.
was good.
I spent over $100,000 for those articles.
Well, I read it from one, and so did
Yeah, I
my
know.
brother-in-law.
Well, they were excellent articles. I spent a lot of time, but
Well, they were good.
thank you.
You're welcome.
You appreciate your support.
Yeah, we do support you.
Thank you.
You're hot, man. You're lucky. You're famous. You got fans in the street.
See, I got a groupies and everything.
We need to store the lights and the microphone for you.
Well, I'm only doing this because of injustices. Like our
I
company.
was gonna ask, what are you promoting? With
Well, our company is Super Seamless of Canada. We built our we're building our manufacturing plant just outside the city. You might have seen our sign on Highway number 1 as you come over the overpass. It says Highway Robbery on the side of a semi.
Yes.
Okay. So in 2010, we started building our new plant. And midway through construction, we find out in 2013 at a public open forum that they moved the bypass. And we had a 200,000 square foot plant to go up. It was going to house a machine that is 300 feet long. So it's to the end of the block. And it makes insulated siding and the machine could produce over $500 million worth of siding a year.
So
Would have created hundreds of jobs locally. And then we had an international company that wanted to do a joint venture across North America. Because this is the only machine like it in the world. It insulates, it's PVC coated, it's steel. So we could have taken over the market. So we had visions of building 11, 12 plants, producing $500 million. So that's like $5 or $6 billion a year. Can you imagine the economy, the growth, the fact that we started in Saskatchewan? We've been in business for 45 years now. What this would have done?
it's hard to do
So
that.
now we get impacted by the bypass, and for the last 20,000 hours or 11 years, I've been fighting the government because they stole our land, they bulldozed through our property. I was threatened by Brad Wall at the Premier's dinner in 2015, and then my sister had a major stroke, and she's lying in Wascana paralyzed for the last 8.5 years. So what do? You say, well, it sucks to be you, right? Or do you stand up and say, this is wrong? Everything's wrong about it. So I went to the RCMP. They did a fake investigation, shut down. They said, well, we spent 8,500 hours on this. We've relied on the information freely provided to us, and we didn't meet the threshold to subpoena evidence. And we said, what? All you had to do was subpoena Bill Boyd's farming records, and you could have seen the collusion between, because GTH scandal, I don't know if you followed it, where they flipped land, and Robert Topoff, a friend of, or a land developer, a land baron in Alberta, who rents land to Bill Boyd, who's the deputy premier and also the minister of the GTH. He ended up making $6 million flipping land, and then he sold it to the offer to build to Anthony Marquardt, and Marquardt made $5 million after Brad Wall signed an order in council to pay him $21.1 million for 4 times as much land as they needed, 20 times the rate everybody else is getting. So I went to the Premier's dinner, and Brad Wall threatened me. Threatened me to Premier's dinner, and so at that point I thought, you have 2 choices. You can give up and say, I just wasted my life, or you say, no, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to make this world a better place. I'm going to tell the story, because everybody has problems with government. Murray Mandarick, in an article, he said that 98% of the people don't trust government. And I think he was being conservative. So So here we are. We're writing the book now. If that's the only way we win, we've hired 5 liars that misrepresented us. You know, we get targeted in this show, like to go into Cathedral Village Festival because we want to spread the news that people need to stand up and wake up and say, we need accountability in government. And here they say, no, you can't go in it. Why? Because you're talking about government. So who makes those decisions? So that's why we set up here, because there's a lot of people want to know more. And there's a lot more people that don't know anything about it that should know, so that we can all stand up and say, we want to be part of that 98% that don't trust government. And we're going to do something about it. We're going to stand up and demand accountability, because these people don't care. They care only about themselves. They're power brokers. They only care about the people that pay them to get into power. So what do you think so far? Do you have any questions?
Well, I'm new to the city. I've been here
Oh, yeah?
about 11 months now.
Where are you from?
Uh, well, I came here from Alberta, but I'm originally from Ontario, Toronto. And my
Okay.
parents are West African and Ghana.
Well, you know what it's like to have hardship. And do you have any scandals in Ghana?
Yeah, they assassinated a president and poured neoliberalism in them. So that's absolutely nothing, anyways.
Well, Regina Bypass, it's going to go down as one of the 7 wonders of the world.
Okay. Wow, it must be really huge then.
Well, the last scandal in Saskatchewan was in 2000 or in 1995, when they exposed the Grant Devine PC party scandal, and that was only $1 million. Now here we have Brad Wall worked for Grant Devine. He was one of his runners, and Bill Boyd was an MP or an MLA then. And now they started the SAS party, and guess what? Now they're involved in the $2 billion Regina Bypass scandal. And what did they do? They cut and ran midway through the RCMP fake investigation.
Well, you know, I'm currently. You ever heard of the Shiloh people? The first black people to settle in Regina, Saskatchewan. So I help them do their fundraisers, and I work as their medic. It's a lot of elderly people in the group. So my job originally was an organic doctor, and I grow medicine, I sell, and I teach people how it works. And I go from province to province, starting food or medicine groups.
Wow.
So in Toronto,
that's really good.
Yeah, it's kind of. You ever heard of York University?
Yeah.
So I have a club there with a couple of 1,500 people. I went to BC, Alberta, with about thousands of people. And when I was done, they released me and I came here. And here I'm working on a book on reparations, for reparations.
Good for you.
Yeah, and so I was able to I met the premier at one of the Shiloh community events this winter.
Mm-hmm.
And he was a native man, and they just got the repatriations and reconciliations for the story of the settlements and desettlements, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's some progresses and some hard-earned monies and millions of gratitudes and acknowledgements. But I was gonna say, you mentioned the government. The government basically uses people like this as a shield. So you're here, you know, you can access them to talk to them, share your information to get your story more as one of the people. You know, it seems like you have a concern, and I don't know how businesses and monies are fighting these days, but you could be isolated because, you know, you're established. My company, my medicine company, is about 10 years old now. So it's just a baby, but I've gone through so much, from evictions to $10,000 fines from the federal government and all kinds of craziness, right? Dad going to jail and a whole bunch of stuff. So I didn't take it sitting down. You know, I struggled.
Well, I like that.
And I wrote about it, and it made me feel better. And people joined my group because of the educational points too. Sometimes, so it's definitely, you're not alone. I stopped driving a while ago, and I'm vegan, 10 years.
Yeah.
So these days I don't do too much cars, and I totally am not with the gentrification going on, but I still can't use my opinions to oppress somebody else, right? Because that'll put me right back in the ghetto of mentality, and I had to struggle my way out of that all over again.
Well, I'm so pleased to meet you. My name's Nestor.
Nestor, that's a beautiful name. You know, you're in a
What's your
famous
name?
book by Homer.
Yeah, apparently it's Greek is wise old man, leader of the Greeks.
That's right.
So I asked my mom, I said, what,
You're
did you want me
King
to
of Troy,
wise
man.
or old? She said, well, I want you to be wise and eventually you'll probably get old.
I'm
So-
Collins.
Yeah,
Back home they call me Wednesday.
Wednesday, nice.
Yeah, so
Well, I'm so glad we met.
yes.
I'm much enriched by you, and I want to keep in touch because you're a mover and shaker, and anything I can do to support you.
I don't know. I wish
Yeah.
you would talk to my boss and get you a booth, get on my list here so that next year we can support you better.
Well-
But I'm totally new and I'm just right
Well,
now it's a hard for me.
put me on. I'm going to be here one way or another next year.
I like that spirit.
So,
We colonize with stuff like that.
but I'm really interested in the nutritional part and what you're doing because
Well, we eat the air,
you're
the
a fighter,
sun,
and there's not many people like us left. So we need to, take the lead and do the things that it takes to get people aware,
turn
so that
into
they
consumers and
so
that's
they
all
can
on
so they
paper.
can start to stand up and say, hey, we don't need to take this. Murray Mandrick had an article, and a couple of years ago, and he said that 98% of the people don't trust government. Now, I think he was being conservative. So the bar is really low. So we have so much to gain, and most people, like once you approach them, they say yes, that great work. Like these ladies here, they've been through hardship before. They've been through adversity. They fought the government, and so they know how hard it is, and they know what little support they get. So
Yeah, it's women's suffrage is actually you're totally right. The government is like invisible when you look at the laws that makes
yeah.
us worship them in the first place because women don't get the rights and the bills, the same pays, representation. And you have things like vets getting their budgets cut, like kids having to eat chips and little fried foods in the lunch rooms, and all these cuts and things that are supposed to be governmental, but at the same time, government is supposed to be staying away from people's rights and laws because we're all so different, right? And through that difference, we become what this diversity, this culture, this festival is.
Yeah,
So I think,
I'll be a couple minutes.
yeah, well, don't mind.
Yeah.
Come on in.
So
You should definitely do your voice, and if that's who you are and that's what you're promoting, because everyone here has an imperfection story with the government of Canada.
yeah,
And me being black, my God, don't even. When I was a kid, I was a troublemaker because I felt like if they were doing it, then I should be able to do it too, just to protect myself. But that sounds kind of American with everybody armed and suspicious of each other. So I grew out of that, and I'm glad that the natives got their settlements and respect and acknowledgement on this land. This is Treaty 4 land and that kind of thing. So I feel like after that, the next group of minorities can have a government, can have a say in Ottawa. So yeah.
well, that's what it takes. It takes, like, you miss every shot you don't take, and it only takes one person to make a difference.
Yes, that's true.
So
Because it sounds like we're all echoing the same things within ourselves, but it takes that full
that
security-
one person to pull it together, the leadership that it takes,
You
and
led Troy against what was that his name? Achilles. So Trojan War. I mean, it's just a story, but we're built that way. Historically, we have one hero or heroine that makes an entire community do stuff. Right? I
Well-
guess it's because when you look at a city, you can't remember everybody's names and
Yeah.
what they did. So you have like Socrates, Aristotle. They stood out. Right? And they spoke for people.
I'm impressed with your knowledge, and you've done a lot of reading,
Oh man, I had to.
and you have empathy, which most people don't.
Yeah.
They say, well, sucks to be you, or we're behind you all the way, and you look behind you and there's nobody there. So, it's lonely at the top, and I'm nowhere near the top. So I can imagine what it's like.
Yeah.
But it's people like you that are going to make the difference, and I'm honored to meet you.
You too.
And let's stay in touch.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Good luck.
Please call me,
Okay.
and we'll get together. I'd love to take you out for supper, and
Lovely.
yeah,
I'm
just to
new
learn
and-
more about you,
Yes, yes.
and see how I can help your cause, because you obviously have a voice. You need a voice. You need to get it out there so people respect respect what you do.
I've been Canadian almost 30 years, and I've been waiting for that check that says, you helped start America, and it hasn't come. So
Oh, it's gonna come. You got to keep believing. So,
I'll buy some chicken or something on that day, because I don't eat any meat, but
oh,
that day will be very special.
excellent.
Well, I should probably see if anybody else needs my help, but
Thanks again.
hey,
A pleasure.
don't give up.
Thank you.
Okay.